This is Matt once again from Real Talk and Business. This might be like the third day in a row where the moon is out in broad daylight while the sun is out, as well as these leaves that you see on your screen that have not decomposed. These leaves have been sitting here since last year. Yeah, I wanted to go back into this topic because a few of you had left some comments wanting me to talk about this again. So that's why I wanted to show you that earlier with the leaves, with the moon again. The third or fourth day in a row has been out in broad daylight with the sun. And there are some people saying that are Mandela affected. They're saying that we're not on a different planet. We're on the same one that we remembered. I don't believe that. I just don't. I don't agree with that. I think we're on a separate planet, man. It's too many changes. It's too many differences that's going on. Countries have shifted. Australia, South America, all these shifts that we're seeing, if you're Mandela affected, that stuff don't just happen overnight. 20, 30 years from my memory, it was always the same, in the same location. It was always like that. It's not all of a sudden it was that way, and then we wake up the next day and all of a sudden it just shifts. That's telling me that we're not at the same place we were on before. We're somewhere else. Wherever else it is, I don't know. I just know we're not in the same place we were on. Thousands of Mandela effects. Thousands, man. Thousands. It's not just one or two. It's not just one or two. It's thousands, man. Thousands. Stuff like this don't just change like magic. I call it a bad copy, because all of the changes and differences that we're seeing seems like a downgrade of how it used to be. It seems like a downgrade. So that's why I call it a bad copy. It just seems like a bad copy. You know when you put a piece of paper in your copy machine and you try to get a copy out, you see little errors in it. That's how this world seems to me. It just seems like a bad copy of the world I remember, or a lot of us remember. So that's just my take on it. I think we're somewhere else, man. And unless I could be proven otherwise, unless we can be proven otherwise, I think we're somewhere else. It's too much stuff that's different. When I made my first Mandela effect video, I woke up. You can see it's like I woke up from my sleep. I woke up and I seen all of these changes. I'm like, what the heck? What the heck happened? You know, if we was on the same planet, that stuff is not going to change overnight, man. That's not going to change overnight. And it was a lot of Mandela effects that I've seen at the same time. It's not like I seen one Mandela effect one day and then all of a sudden I see another one the next day, and the next day I see something else. It's like it was a whole list of them that I was naming off that I seen at the same time and noticed. Those leaves would have been decomposed. It's been like this for the past a couple of years. And you notice it's like after 2015, 16, why all of a sudden we're seeing all of these changes and all of these differences and all of this weirdness going on. Why is it happening now? Why didn't it happen 10 years ago or 20 years ago? Why is it happening now? You got to take that into consideration. I think this earth, this planet is making people sick, man. It's making people sick. And like I said, the world seems off balance, seems out of sync. That's a good term to put on it. Out of sync. It's not in sync. Time going faster. Time is going faster than ever before. Why now? Why after 2015, 16, all of a sudden time going faster now? It wasn't going faster 10 years ago or 20 or 30 years ago, from my memory anyway. Why now? Why when everything else is out of sync and out of whack? Now time going faster. Now the world spinning faster. The world I used to be on that I remembered, it wasn't spinning faster. It's not going to spin fast overnight. Everything was in sync back then. Moon was coming out at nighttime like clockwork. Everything was running in sync. Everything is just doing whatever now. It's doing whatever it wants to now. It almost seems like some force or something is controlling what's going on. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like somebody's is playing with things. It's like almost seems like a kid is behind a computer monitor and just playing with stuff. That's what it seems like. To be on a humorous side of things, that's what it seems like. When I was growing up, people weren't this bad. They weren't this bad when I was growing up. People had thicker skin. They had thicker skin. They weren't getting so easily triggered by things. They had thicker skin. Now you say the wrong thing and people will lose their minds. Like a child. They'll think illogically, like a little kid. They weren't like that back when I was growing up. On the planet I remember. When things were in sync. When things were consistent. That's why you got to pay attention to your surroundings, because certain things would just fly over your head. And what I'm saying to you would just be foreign. You'd be like, what is he talking about? It'll fly right over your head. So you got to pay attention to your surroundings. If you're not Mandela affected, then you have no idea of what I'm talking about. It's going to sound like I'm talking a different language that you don't understand. But the ones who are Mandela affected, you know what I'm talking about. Most of you know. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I just don't see how we're on the same planet that I remember. It could be gone, if all I know. The planet that we remembered, if you're Mandela affected, that planet could be totally gone. Or it could be somewhere that we don't know. Like I say, it could be different variations of this world. We don't know. We don't have the answers to what's going on outside of this world. So if you think the world and this planet has no effect on us as human beings, then what you're saying is that us as so-called human beings are not connected to it. We're totally separate from this earth. But how is that so if we are eating from it? We are walking on here. We're born on here. We're living on here. We're breathing on here. We're getting our oxygen on here. You see, we're getting our fruits and vegetables off of here. So wouldn't you think the world would have some effect on us as humans if we are existing on here? Think a little deeper. Think a little deeper. That would make me believe we are connected, which we are connected. If we're not connected, we wouldn't even be here. We wouldn't even be here. So we're connected in some way. So if the world is out of whack from how I'm observing it is, and a lot of you are, wouldn't you think that would have some type of effect on us? That's what I believe. That is having some type of effect on us and our condition. If the world was in sync, like I remember it was, then most of what you're seeing would be in sync. But I'm seeing an illogical society. I'm seeing an illogical world we're in. Things is just going haywire. And I'm getting all the way down to the mentality. That's how deep I'm thinking. Of course we have some connection to the earth. If we don't have any connection, we wouldn't even be here. We can just be totally separate beings from it. We won't even need any of its resources. You might say it's not having any effect on you, and it might not have any effect on you. But everybody's not the same. Got to think it like that too. Everybody's not the same as you or me. We might take things differently than other people. This is a deep topic. We could talk about this for hours. These people are different here. These people are different and they act different. Like I say, they acting really strange and weird. They're not thinking logically. So many people. So many people. So we have illogical thinking inside of an illogical world. You don't have to listen to anything I'm saying. Just look around you and see. If leaves aren't decomposing when they used to decompose faithfully every year, around the same time, every single year, without failure, and all of a sudden, during these times, all of a sudden, they're not decomposing, then there's something off here. That's just one example out of thousands I can make a video about. That's just one thing. Another observation that I noticed in this reality too, and some of you could probably relate to this, it's the humor. You know, when people try to act funny, the comedy that's in this reality, comedy shows, the humor, stuff like that. A lot of it, not all of it, there's still some stuff that do make me laugh, but most of the humor in this reality is just not funny to me. It's not funny. It's more goofy to me. I remember back in the day, I used to be on the floor like crying. I couldn't stop laughing. Couldn't stop. It was genuinely humorous back then. To me, anyway. I'm just speaking on my experience. You might feel differently now. But back in the day when I was growing up, stuff was funny, man. We remember the shows like Martin, Different Strokes, those type of shows. They were humorous back then when I was watching it live. It's still some stuff that do make me laugh now, but not like how it did back in the day. It's just goofy. It's just goofy. I look at it like, I don't be like, most of that is gone in this reality. It's just goofy to me. It don't make me laugh like it used to. The comedy that's out. And you might say life is what you make it. But see, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about in these videos. I'm talking about reality changing around me, not my personal reality and what I do with my own personal life. That's two different things. I'm talking about reality is completely different than how a lot of us remembered it was. And I believe everybody who is experiencing this should be talking about it. This should be on everybody's list to talk about. Especially if you're going through it. Why not talk about it? It's our reality. Why not document this? It's our reality. It's what we're seeing on a day-to-day basis. Why not talk about it? It doesn't matter what I do with my own personal life. I could be the most positive person on this planet. You as well. Reality is going to do what it does. It's going to do what it does. So why not observe and discuss what's going on? I'm documenting everything that I'm seeing. That's what this video is about. Doesn't matter what I do in my own life. Like I always say, you should make the best of your life. You want to do that, but that's not going to change the reality we're in. That's not going to change that. It's not going to change how people are acting in society. It doesn't matter what you do with your own life. The world is different now. Doesn't matter how positive you are. The world is still different. People are still acting crazy by the day. as we can see. It's not going to change that unless they change, unless this reality changes miraculously for some reason, unless that happens. And I'm the type of person, I like to give things or this reality a chance. I like to give everything a chance and give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm that type of person. I like to give things a chance, but it's something I've been feeling for several years now. After 2015, after 2016, and after that time period. So, but this reality is just not getting me. It's not doing it for me like it used to. And if you really want to know my honest opinion about this major virus, the major virus we had all over the world, we all know what it is. I truly believe if we were still on the same earth that we remembered, if you're Mandela affected, if we was on that same earth, that virus never would have happened. That's just my honest belief. I believe that it would have never went down. You can believe what you want to believe. That's just how I feel about it. I believe it would have never happened, man. Because as I said, the physics in this reality or dimension is completely different than the old earth that we used to remember if you're affected. It's completely different. The physics is completely different. Our anatomy completely changed. Our organs is in a completely different areas than where they used to be at. The whole structure of this dimension is completely different. That's why I said if we were still on the same earth that we remembered, I truly believe that virus wouldn't have never went down. It would have never surfaced. Whether it's real or fake, that's another discussion. I'm not going to get into that. And that's why I like to speak my mind on here. I don't live in fear. I don't live in fear of other people and what they might say about how I feel about a certain topic. I'm done with that. They're going to get mad at me. Oh, I shouldn't say this. No. It's almost to the point right now, it's like if you're Mandela affected, if we had these memories of how things used to be, so many changes or differences that we are going through now, what makes you think what you're seeing is real? That can easily change. That can easily be manipulated, if you want to say that word. It can easily change. What makes you think what you're seeing is real? If that can easily change, if our memories and what we used to remember, if that can easily be altered, then what makes you think this world is real? This world can easily be altered again. It can easily be altered. That's why I'm not taking a lot of what I'm seeing seriously. Especially after 2016, when I first started talking about this. I don't take a lot of things seriously because it's inconsistent. It's too many differences and changes that are just completely out of the ordinary. You might call this reality fluid or liquid, but the reality I remembered wasn't fluid. It wasn't liquid. It was solid. You pretty much knew what to expect. It wasn't changing like this, like it doesn't have any sense. You knew what to expect back then. It wasn't fluid back then. It was solid. It was consistent. It was in sync. You knew that moon was going to be out at nighttime, not out in the day whenever it wants to come out, like it has its own mind. It wasn't fluid back then. For decades, from my memory, for decades, for years, it wasn't fluid back then. But now all of a sudden, in these past few years, now it's fluid now. So what makes you think what you're seeing is real. That can easily be changed. When I say real, I mean won't change. Something you know is going to be there the next day. Now, anybody can come on the internet and say they seen a UFO. Anybody can make up something, right? Or they could be telling the truth. They can come on here and you're just going by their word that they seen a UFO, they witnessed something, or they experienced this, or what have you. And that's exactly what I'm about to do. I can't show you any video. I can't show you what I've seen, but all I can do is I can draw what I've seen and I can describe what I've seen. Maybe you've seen the same thing. I don't know. It was about 3 days ago. I was coming home from the store and I glanced in the sky. You know, you have to pay attention to the road. So I'm letting the cars go by or what have you. I glanced in the sky. It could have been like several seconds and I seen an object. Now, you know how they depict UFOs as this circular type object like this? It didn't look like that. This wasn't circular in shape. It was more triangular in shape. More like this. This is not a professional drawing now. Just to let you know what I've seen. It was more triangular in shape. More like that. Triangular, cigarish in shape. Something like this. Like that. And as I was looking at this object, for the couple seconds that I've seen it, it was turning like this. It was not moving now. It was stationary. So I had to pay attention to the road. So I'm looking at the cars and waiting until they go by. And I glanced again. This had to have been another several seconds. I looked in the sky again. It was completely gone from the sky. You know how when you see airplanes in the sky, you might glance at an airplane, turn away for a couple seconds, and you look back, and the airplane is now over there now. You can see it had traveled down some or this way. This was completely gone from the sky. Totally gone from the sky. Just disappeared. It was white in color. I'm here to document it. Don't say I didn't tell you if you see it. As I said, you can believe what you want to believe. It's on you, but in the world or reality I remembered, I didn't see anything like this. I haven't seen any UFO. So I didn't take it serious back then because I never seen it. I didn't see it with my own two eyes. So I didn't take it serious in my adulthood growing up. Now, I remember on one occasion as a child, I might have seen something that might have been close to a UFO, but you're young, you don't know, you're not really sure, I didn't have a good view of it. But this was in my clear view, and I'm older. I can see, I can analyze, I can look at things more clear with an open mind. I know how things look and what they don't look like as far as aircraft. This wasn't no aircraft that I've seen before on this earth. I'd never seen it before. Like I say, it was stationary. It started to turn, and then it was gone. It was completely gone, man. Now, does this have any relation to what I'm discussing here in this video? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you if it has any relation to what we're experiencing with this different reality that we're living on. I don't know. But I'm noticing more sightings, UFO sightings lately that I've ever experienced before. I never experienced so many UFO sightings now. Back then, you might have seen one here, and then maybe the following year, you might see somebody else might talk about it. Or this is like a common thing that I've seen lately. So if you've seen anything like this, let me know. Put it in the comments. And this was after I made that video about I'm paying attention to the sky. This was after that. I recorded that. This is Matt from Real Talk and Business, and I see you in the next one.